Welcome again to the Babbleheads podcast with Bryson and Corey.
You can do better. Come on, you can do better. I've heard you do better.
Welcome to the Babbleheads podcast with Bryson and Corey.
It's pronounced Dumas. I'm standing sideways right now. This went bad. Are you finally ready?
No. I need to go get a snack.
Did you gird your loins already? Bro, if anyone in the world doesn't need a snack, it's you. Followed by me.
That's legitimately a little on the harsh side.
Bro, we could both go a few days without eating and we'd be okay.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I don't want to admit it, but you're probably right.
Like always. Like I tell the guys at work, you know me, I never make any mistakes.
Let a man do it.
No. I loosened it for you. Now if you open it, it's just because I loosened it. See? I literally was about to open it.
I get to open this, man. This is
true. It's your baby.
This is my, well, it's not my baby, but I was very excited when I saw it.
Looks pretty good.
Let's see. Let's dribble it all over the table while we're at it.
Yeah. Holy shit, bro. That's a little much.
You want to pour your own?
Yes, please. Bryson's not going nowhere after this.
It seems like a lot.
That came out really quick.
It seems like a lot. It's the giant ball of ice.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm going to set this... you know what? This is such a pretty bottle. I'm going to set it right behind this so you can't see it at all.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's see. How is it?
Don't have to worry about plague.
Ooh. That is so smooth.
Yeah, it's good.
Mate, that's better than regular.
Yeah, well, I would expect it's better than regular. If it's not, probably be a problem.
You expect that not regular would be better than regular?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
All right. So, I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption lately.
You said, yeah.
And it's bringing back a lot of the memories.
From
the old school days of gaming. And specifically all the stuff that's been coming out about World of Warcraft Classic.
I know. I've been following it pretty closely. We, if you guys couldn't tell by now, Corey and I, gosh, do I really have to say this out loud? We're nerds.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. But yes, we are.
We're definitely nerds. And when we were younger, up until really fairly recently, we have been on and off players of World of Warcraft. Yeah. Starting in Classic.
Yeah.
All the way up until now, which I haven't played the newest expansion yet.
Neither have I.
But that's because most people have told me it's pretty crap.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
So, needless to say, we spent a lot of our time as youths in virtual reality. Mm-hmm. And we made a lot of memories.
Yes, we did. And part of it is I'm worried about Classic. I don't think I'll play it. Here's why. I watch people play it. I'm like, man, I remember that. And they're making all the good points about how, like, you actually had to explore and all that stuff. And, like, you learn the map. And that, like, it was all focused around grinding enemies, which was, like, the joke in South Park. Where they're like, we need to kill
10,000 boars.
10 million
boars. 10 million boars.
And that's what the game was like. But, you know, it was kind of cool because you went from area to area. And I think it had its own unique charm. But does that unique charm just equate to looking at things through rose-tinted glasses, perhaps?
I think maybe. I really do. I think there's a lot of nostalgia around it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I have some great memories, like, of trying to swim from continent to continent.
Kalimdor to...
Kalimdor to Eastern Kingdoms.
Yep.
That was pretty great. And fighting fatigue, running out across the ocean as a spirit, get to your corpse, swim a little bit, die of fatigue, rinse and repeat for several days.
Yep.
Whole week.
Yeah, that was everybody. What was it? what's the name of the forest where all the humans start?
Elwyn.
And the gnomes. Elwyn, that's what I thought. And, like, that was the go-to starting area for, like, everybody in the Alliance.
Yeah,
You'd
I would
see
actually...
night elves there.
Yeah,
You'd see dwarves.
I would travel the long journey with dwarves. Night elves, maybe not. I did it once with a night elf, but it was hard.
Yeah.
Because you had to go through some scary areas.
Yeah, you basically had to have somebody escort you the whole way.
But if you were a dwarf, you could get to Ironforge, jump on the Deep Run tram, and head over to Stormwind, and then go to...
Some real nerd jargon right there. It would literally take hours
it would be
running.
To for no reason. I mean, you could level perfectly efficiently in Dunmoreau.
Yeah, see, I would level in the dwarf area just because I'm a huge fan of dwarves.
Dunmoreau.
Yeah, I love...
You are a huge fan of dwarves because you literally are one.
No.
Yes.
I'm not a dwarf.
I mean, you're not a not dwarf.
How am I a dwarf?
Well, you're less than 6 foot tall, so to me you're a dwarf.
Yeah, so I'm average height. Continue. Continue.
Yes,
and
you have a beard.
Okay. Yes. That's racist.
Now you're a dwarf. Congratulations. If you could grow like 4 inches and shave your beard, you could be a human again.
I wouldn't mind being a dwarf. Sturdy folk.
Sturdy folk.
Yeah.
Got your stone form ready? Immune to any poisons?
Yeah, but so the big thing with WoW is that it was kind of like really the first of its kind.
Well, it was revolutionary.
We'd play
back then,
during breaks.
I think what a lot of people don't understand is when World of Warcraft came out in, I think it was 2004. When it came out, it was the most amazing thing anyone had ever seen, because it was designed to be played on shit computers.
Yeah,
and that kind of is a detriment to them now, because when it was made, graphics cards were terrible.
Yeah.
And CPUs were sort of okay. So when they built the game, they built it to be very CPU reliant. So it could run on pretty much any computer of the age on lowest settings. And if you had a computer that had a graphics card and a nicer processor, you could run it on high settings. Nobody ran it on high settings, at least nobody that we knew. Yeah. Everybody had it on the lowest possible settings, just so they could play.
And every time you went into a town, it was...
You would go into, oh my god, dreaded cities. Like, you go into, like, a populated area, and, like, disconnected.
Yep. You go into Ironforge, it's like,
gone.
Everybody's dead.
Boop, you've been disconnected from the server. Oh. And then you're like, okay, no big deal. I just get back on. Boom. You were in the queue. Number 10,426.
Yep.
And you'd be waiting for like 4 hours to get into the server.
Yeah.
Because nobody played on low pop servers. Everybody wanted to play where everyone else was playing.
Well, that was also the cool thing, that is in a server, you literally only could play with people on that server.
Right, and you had a community. Yeah. I remember so many people from our original server back in the day. Yep. Corey and I started on Skull Crusher US.
Yep.
I still remember that. And then we transferred at some point. I'm not sure why. Maybe because our friends were on a different server, but we ended up transferring to Sargeras.
Yep.
Which was a higher population realm than Skull Crusher. And we were like in our
Skull Crusher was PvP.
Though. So Sargeras.
Oh, I thought it was PvE.
No, the one that we play on now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because we transferred again. To, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's some other server.
I want to say we started. So the thing that was really cool about WoW is you ran into people that, like, kids at school that never really would play something like this, because it was D&D but on the computer.
And everybody was D&D meets Lord of the Rings.
Not that I ever played D&D in high school.
It was D&D plus Lord of the Rings plus like Moo.
Yeah. Oh,
no one knows
Moo online.
Oh, that was our jam.
The fake Diablo clone you found.
Yeah.
That's still going to this day.
Yes, I logged into it like a year ago just to see what was up. I don't know. I couldn't find any of my account information, which is kind of sad. But I remember when I logged in, I instantly like had that nostalgia feeling because there's that noise, the noises of the game. It's very hard to describe. It's like wow,
and you have to be level 6 to lean. That was a feature in the game.
Yes,
and you could open up a store.
We used to joke about that all the time. Like, no, stop leaning. You're not level 6 yet.
You're not level 6 yet. But I think the big nostalgia thing comes from the fact that back when we used to play games, you would spend a significant time playing that game
and
in each area.
And we were children.
True.
Let's be honest. We were children at that point, and everything was amazing. Mm-hmm. Everything was an adventure. Our immersion was much greater.
I don't know. I think it's that today, it's always the mad dash to get to the end. So
we didn't have that urgency.
Yeah, exactly.
Neither of us ever hit level 60 in Classic.
Yeah.
And it's not because we were scrubs for a long time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because we were scrubs. It's because we had zero desire to hit level 60.
Yeah, we had zero desire for the end game.
We were having so much fun screwing around at level 45. We were level 40 something for almost a year.
Yeah, we would go and they still do have the events, but I remember one of the events you got the bottomless cask.
Yes.
So we went fishing and did drunk fishing like high schoolers. We're like, we're gonna
look at us, we're so cool.
Yeah, that was kind of a pathetic thing to admit. But yeah, that's you never played on Xbox Live with me and Scott, but that's something we did. We'd play some games and our favorite game.
I still had dial-up, remember?
Yeah.
Or no, satellite. Yeah. I had satellite internet.
Our favorite. You had both.
I did.
I
played World of Warcraft on dial-up. And satellite, just saying.
Yeah.
Dial-up is way more impressive. Yeah. The saddest part was, I was so excited. Do you remember?
Yes.
I was we had dial-up for the longest time, and it was not good. It was not good. But I could kill wolves and boars and whatever and level up. So it was cool. I was good with it. And then my parents were like, we're going to get satellite internet. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm going to finally have high-speed internet. Because you're talking 56K dial-up. Yeah. Actually, I think we had a special service that boosted it to 112.
Didn't your parents pay for that for 10 years after they stopped using it?
Yeah, because they had this company called USA DataNet, and it was $3 a month.
Yeah.
Because it was included in their long distance package or something. And it was old school long distance where if you called a number that wasn't in your area code, you had to dial another number to call that, and it said, please enter the number you would like to call. And it would forward it. It was ridiculous. I'm dating myself right now a little bit. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, we're going to get satellite internet. This is the greatest day of my nerd life. And we got it. I hung out with the installer and talked with him the whole time. And I was super...
Bugged them. You're little Bryson's hi.
You're going to give me good internet? Are you the internet
Even though you were in high
Santa
school,
Fairy?
So...
Yeah, no.
You were like...
Hey, you're going to give me the
internet. Hey, you're giving me internet? It's been so
nice
long.
Voice crack. That was probably pretty accurate. Yeah. I was like, you're giving me internet? I'm pretty excited about internet.
So, my fellow engineer at work doesn't have internet at his house because high-speed internet doesn't make it there. Yeah. I'm like...
Move.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. So, first option, move. He has an Xbox. He has all that stuff. He used to play Xbox Live all the time. I'm like, dude, give me your gamer tag. And he's like, I don't have internet. And I'm just like,
how does?
I'm like, how does one without internet live? But
you don't realize how much you depend on the interwebs.
Yeah, for everything. I want to look up this recipe. So he said they got in trouble with their wireless provider. I think it was AT&T probably, or maybe Verizon, but they had the unlimited.
Yeah.
And they sent them a notice listen, your unlimited's not unlimited anymore because they would
got that.
They would use one as a hotspot.
Yeah.
And then connect things to it.
Right. And you can't they track that stuff. They can tell when you're using laptop levels of data versus cellular levels. Although I just recently got unlimited data back again on my phone. Mm-hmm. Because for years we were living with a 6 gig limit.
Same.
But we decided that with my new job and how much I travel, my car uses data for navigation and all that stuff. We thought it would be worth it. So I switched to unlimited. So I stopped downloading stuff. So I had in the past, while I'm at work, I listen to podcasts, whatever, sometimes on YouTube, sometimes wherever. So I pay for YouTube Premium so that I can download and whatever, and I download a ton of stuff onto my phone, and then I would play it while I was at work and listen to it and whatever. And now, though, that I don't have to worry about data usage, I've just been streaming it on my phone. That's and I looked the other day, like 2 days ago, to see what I was at. My billing cycle ends on the 15th. Today's not the 15th. We're like a week away from that. And I was at 38 gigs. Oh my God. I was like, that's a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
Just me. Not everybody in the family, just me.
I remember back when you would get a phone. Like, we had the flip phones, obviously, and then we got the phones with the data plan. Mm-hmm. And you were like, oh, God, I can't go for the data. And then all of a sudden they're like,
everyone's unlimited.
Yeah, and we're like, great. And then for years, it was unlimited. And I had that phone that's flipped like this or flipped like this.
You were Verizon, though, so you had the issue that you weren't actually grandfathered
I was until I changed phones. That's how they got you. They never said anything.
Yeah,
I had already went through and made the switch, and they're like, "Oh no, because you switched phones, you're not."
That convinced me, by the way, to stay with AT&T, because my brother has Verizon, and they did the same thing to him. If you want to upgrade your phone, we're taking away your unlimited data.
Well, I was young when it happened, and they did it very sneakily. They didn't say anything until it was all
my brother's older than we are, so
yeah,
and he's listening to this podcast. Hey, Ryan.
Hey.
So, basically. That was when he said, "Oh, Verizon's taking away my unlimited data. I bet you AT&T will too," and they never did.
Yeah.
So I was like, kudos to AT&T for not being dicks and taking away everyone's unlimited data. I ended up giving up mine voluntarily because if I wanted to upgrade my phone, this is how they ended up getting you. Yeah. It's pretty legit. It's sort of legit. So now AT&T, everybody knows AT&T, and everybody does that program where you have to pay monthly payments for your phone. Yeah. And if you wanted a new phone, you can't do the old upgrade option, which was awesome. Because youngsters, listen up. Back in the day, you could upgrade your cell phone by paying a fee, somewhere between $100 and $200 for the nicer phones.
Yeah.
Every 2 years, you had to re-up your contract for another 2 years, but they gave you the phone at a very deep discount.
Yes. So
you'd get a $700, $800 phone for $200, but you were locked into the contract for 2 years. Now, obviously, it's a loan.
Yeah.
You pay $30 a month or whatever for an $800 phone for 2 years, and you own it, which is nice. But either way, moral of the story is when I went to upgrade my phone, they were like, "Listen, you can keep your unlimited if you want, but you have to buy your phone outright." So I would have had to shell out $800 for my next phone.
Yeah, because phones are ridiculous.
And I was new. Yeah, $800 is not even as much as they are anymore.
That's cheap.
Yeah,
that's cheap.
Like that's how much my 2-year-old phone costs. But yeah, it was $800 if I wanted to get it was actually $900 I think for the S8. That was before that, so it would have been an LG, whatever phone I had before this. It was $800, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I can't do that." So they're like, "Okay, well, you can go to this plan. You can keep." They didn't offer unlimited anymore. It was like you can get a 10 gig family plan or a 6 gig family plan or whatever. Yeah. And we ended up settling on the 6 gig, and everyone ended up buying new phones. So we were locked into that program. So yeah, moral of the story is we unlimited went away, and then now it's back.
What kills me with phones is it's nearly impossible to split up the plan because it gets more expensive for everybody. If you're like, all right, me and my wife are going to get our own plan, you parents get your own, and we'll be good. It's actually more costly to everyone involved.
My dad is
ridiculous.
On my plan.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because I looked into getting through Verizon my own plan. Yep. Because then that way I wouldn't have to give my mom the cash, whatever. It would be like $80 a month for me for the basic stuff.
You should get Straight Talk, man. You're in the perfect position to do like a Straight Talk.
Yeah.
It's $45 a month for unlimited.
Yeah, I pay less than that now, and I get unlimited on Verizon. So
yeah, I guess that's true. Out. Well, ours is not cheaper than that, even if you divided it all up. But we did the math. We were looking at Straight Talk, and we're like, because Straight Talk offers the same thing where you can pay monthly for your phone and upgrade.
And it's not like you get service here anyway. So.
Well, if I had Verizon, I would get like a bar. Oh, I heard a rumor, and it makes me very happy. The rumor is that behind the elementary school over yonder, they might be putting in an AT&T tower.
There you go.
That would be, fingers crossed, awesome.
Yeah.
Because we live in I think it's a really pretty spot where we live. You know, it's like wooded and nice, and it's in a valley where there is zero cell phone service. Zero.
Unless you're on Verizon.
Yeah, but you still don't have much. If you're lucky, you have a bar.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the downsides of living in the country. I mean, there's a lot of spots where you just don't have service. I mean, even my parents' house, where they're up on a hill, not in the middle of nowhere, it's spotty.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the
God,
members.
we went down so many weird
rabbit. So the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
Something when I used to play games on Xbox was my favorite game that I can recall playing multiplayer on.
Let me guess. I'm going to guess.
Go for it.
Gears of War.
No.
Okay.
I was really good at that game.
Well, because that's why I guessed
one of my
that,
best. I amazing at that game, but no, not that.
Was it Halo?
No, you'll never guess.
I'm never gonna guess.
No.
Castle Crashers.
It was Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos.
Yeah, I would never guess that.
It was a really fun game. The multiplayer was really interesting because it was spies versus mercs. So, the spies didn't have weapons, so they either had to sneak up behind the mercs and snack their necks, or use their gadgets. And the mercs were, kitted out. So, I was really good as a spy. Scott was really good as a merc. But the problem was we never really actually played the game types. Because back in the day, kids, matchmaking was not a thing that could happen. Even in Gears of War, you had to start a lobby, and you could name it whatever you wanted, and people would have to join your lobby.
Yeah, you guys are spoiled.
Yeah. So, but what was nice is you could name it Dude. Now they have the Michael Myers and Call of Duty and stuff. But what that came from was you would make a lobby that says we're gonna play Predator.
I'm about to blow your mind,
and that's what that came from.
You ready for me to blow your mind with some nostalgia?
Mm-hmm.
I had a PS2.
Yep.
Okay. And I played the crap out of that PS2. It was my jam because I didn't have a PC at the time.
PlayStation.
I didn't have it. My brother had an Xbox, so I got a PlayStation too, and they were equivalent basically. Because PlayStation was one generation ahead of Xbox, right? So PlayStation 2 and Xbox were the same generation.
Yeah.
I had a dial-up modem for the back of my PlayStation 2. I still have it. I was at my parents' house the other day, and I was going through some of my stuff in the basement, and I found my PlayStation 2, and it had, still attached to it, a dial-up modem on the back, which had an in and an out phone port.
See, I don't think you could play Xbox on dial-up because I didn't get Xbox. I had an Xbox first out of everyone. I was the last one to get live.
If you guys want a serious laugh, go on Google Images and look up PlayStation 2 dial-up modem. It was a Sony accessory, and it snapped into the back, and it plugged into what would have been the Ethernet port, and adapted.
I'll give it to Sony. I think that their initial foray into online was a little bit better.
The original PlayStation
Xbox.
Network was good enough that I literally could play on dial-up.
Yeah. I agree. That was pretty good, but I think Xbox kind of took the cake, and they had from the beginning you had to pay.
You're talking about a heated debate.
Yeah,
right now.
and from the beginning you had to pay, and people always got upset, but I always found that you got what you paid for.
Better service.
I can count 2, maybe 3 times where Xbox Live has been totally down.
Yeah, but it's not that much more for PlayStation Network.
Especially at the beginning, it was very spotty.
Okay, so I'm not going to argue that because I don't know, but what I can tell you is that from my experience, because I played on PlayStation Network, but I have a 1 and I had a 360. I just didn't have an original Xbox. My brother had the original Xbox. I had the PS2, but then funny story actually. My household, we were terrible at sharing. My brother was 7 years older than me, so he didn't like to share with me. So when we were kids and we had N64, he had one. He got it for Christmas one year. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I had to play it, and he was like, no. And my parents were like, Ryan, you got to let your brother play your N64. And he's like, no.
Wow, Ryan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So eventually, after I begged for a long time to play his N64. My parents were like, oh. And they got me one for my birthday. So like my birthday's in July and he got his, I think, for Christmas. So it was like 7 months of me being like, can I please play though? And he's like, no, go away. So they eventually got me my own. And that was pretty much how it went from then on.
Yeah.
I had the PS2, he had the Xbox, but then we converged and we each got 360s.
Yeah.
And we had terrible internet, as we described. So my brother and I bought a 100-foot, there's a 150-foot system link cable, which had to be a special cable because it was a different pin setup than a regular Cat 6. Yeah. So we went on Amazon or something and bought literally the longest cable in the world.
Yeah, I remember this
and
cable.
We ran it from my bedroom, which was up in the second story of the house, all the way down to the basement where my brother resided. And we would play System Link Halo.
Yep, I remember that.
And I used to... You ready for this one, Ryan? Time for some humiliation. I used to beat the snot out of him in Halo, and I could hear him cursing through the heating vents.
That's okay, Ryan. Back in the day, when we first introduced Bryson to Halo...
Yes, this was well before, because that was on Xbox One. I say Xbox One. Original Xbox.
Yeah, on the original Xbox, we introduced Bryson to Halo. And my
friend...
friend...
introduced me to multiplayer, because I played it on my brother.
My friend Scott and I... Well, I was really good because I had it. Scott had never played, but he picked it up shortly after. But we would shoot Bryson with the pistol, and he was legit crying. Real tears. Yep. You guys can't shoot me in the back. You have to let me see it first. So then one of us would go, hey, Bryson. He'd look at us, and somebody else would shoot him in the back. And he'd get pissed. And
it goes to show you how much things change throughout the years.
But
you wouldn't catch me crying real tears over it. Your phone!
Oh, no!
Low! You've been caught!
Oh, man. But,
better put that on silent.
Nah. But, I do think I miss the days where, and it's kind of coming back, and what really got me thinking about it is games like Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 1 was, did you ever play it?
Nope.
So you didn't play the multiplayer. It was open world, and the multiplayer was literally like, here's the map from the campaign. X amount of people can get in the map with you. Do whatever you want. And it was awesome. Like, you could go into a town and just start shooting up the town. And then, like, the law would be after you and you'd have a bounty. And then all the other players would be trying to get your bounty. So you and your buddies are, like, outlaws. Like, you're holding up the bar trying to get money.
Sounds pretty legit.
And it was really legit. And they had things, like, that you could do, like, side missions. You could play... poker and stuff with people, so like you existed in the world with other people, and like you could do gang raids where everybody would gang together and like fight this gang,
right?
And you'd get experience and stuff, and as you leveled up you got different horses, and the coolest mechanic was like, let's say you're a max level and I'm a low level and I managed to kill you somehow. I can go over and pick up all your equipment, and then I have all the guns that you would have and everything.
That's so rough. And you lose all that
stuff?
No,
you keep it when you respawn. But the thing is like, if you kill me, I start back again with the base
That's not as hardcore as like, have you ever heard of Rust?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that stuff is much more hardcore, yes. But it's still cool because, trust me, when people had a sniper, like, we would be out in an opening, and, a favorite activity of myself, Cal, Tai, Golden Cotton, and Scott. That's his Cal, Tai, Golden Cotton is his real name.
Cal, Tai, Golden Cotton?
Yes, he's an awesome guy. And
Cal, Tai, Golden Cotton.
Yes, he's awesome. Him.
What's up, Cal, Tai, Golden Cotton? You should listen to this podcast.
Me and Scott would go up into the woods, and we called it the Cougar Hut because there was an infinite spawn of cougars. Not those kinds. Cat cougars. And we'd hide in the cabin fighting off the cougars for as long as we could. Well, I forgot. Somebody accidentally kicked open the door and they go, shit, the door's open. And you just see one of the cougars leap and lunge through the door and just bite that person's head off. And we're starting to freak out like, oh my God.
So, I'm not going to lie. Every time you say cougar, I'm picturing this totally differently.
Well, that works too. So, like, It was a great game, but if somebody had a sniper rifle and you were in the open riding your horse, all of a sudden you hear "cow" and then you just drop off the horse. Because I don't know if you played the new GTA, but in that, a headshot's a headshot. It doesn't matter if it's a pistol or what.
Well, that's pretty accurate.
It matters. Like, okay, you're hitting the head, you're probably dead, even if it's like a base thing.
Yeah, dunzo.
So, like, you'd be riding along and the sniper rifles did, like, insane damage. And that's how it is. It doesn't matter what level you are. If you're ambushed and they get the drop out of you and make a good shot, you're done. So I remember riding and I'm like, do, and the guy just goes, "Cow," and I'm like, shit. And I was low level and I go, Scott, we got to get this guy. So we keep running at him and it took like 2 hours for us to finally get close enough to this guy to kill him. There was like a pile of our previous corpses in a line to him.
You sound like all the people I used to camp on Call of Duty.
But when we finally got him, it was great because we got his sniper rifle. He couldn't kill us once after that. Like we'd see him right out of town. We'd just go, "Cow." I love that voice, the sound effect. "Cow,
cow," because that's definitely how guns sound. Cow, cow. What's the machine gun sound like?
No, it goes "cow, cow, cow." But I'm tempted when the multiplayer comes out to like buy you Xbox Live in the game just so you can play it with us.
I have an Xbox One, but I am too cheap to pay for Live, and I am too busy to find time to play generally.
Yes.
I mean, I might be able to play if I moved my one out into my man area, which, by the way, welcome to my man area. It's the generic office, the generic podcast studio, and Bryson's man area.
Man cave.
No, it's not. I mean,
it's pretty much a cave.
It is, like, literally.
It has some aesthetics of a cave.
Like the dark walls.
Yes. And the soul-crushing despair.
No, that's just you. You bring that every time you come.
Oh, thanks. But it's just something that, back in the day when we were kids, you would get on a game and you would just
6 hours minimum.
You would just hang out. Like, you might not make any progress in the game. You might do the same thing over again. But you would just
now
enjoy
I have to sit there and think, okay, what is the most efficient way for me to get from this point to this point in the game? And I have to analyze it. Like, in World of Warcraft, I don't have as much fun playing anymore because I sit there. Before, when I was younger, I used to go, how can I go and have an adventure in this place today? And now I sit down and go, okay, I've got 2 hours.
I ride from here to cutscene, done.
Yeah.
It's like I go here to here, here to here, here to here, done. It's not, I have to find this.
Yeah, that's the other thing that people don't, I think, realize today versus back in the day. So, like, MMOs today, I'm sure, I've played a few, and I've definitely played the crap out of World of Warcraft. I think I have almost a year played time in World of Warcraft. So I think I have somewhere to lean on this. But now, all of the quests are actually quests.
Yeah.
Where, like, they send you on a mission, there might be a cutscene, you're doing more than just kill 10 boars.
Collect 15 devious bandit.
Oh my god, that was in classic.
And the drop rate was like 1 per 100 bandits.
Yeah. So you would, if it was 10 bandanas that you needed to collect, you literally would kill 100.
Yeah.
Because it would be like a 1 in 10 drop rate.
But that's the thing is,
there were some things that were way worse than that. Gore tusk livers.
Yeah.
Do you remember gore tusk livers? You'd collect everything else.
Horns.
You'd get the gizzard. It was for the Westfall pie.
Yeah.
You would get gizzards, no problem. You would get what was the other thing? It was like a liver or something. Yeah. And then the one that I'm talking about is gore tusk liver. Yeah. It was like a 1 or 2% drop chance rate. Yep. So you'd work on that quest for like a week.
Yeah. But again, the thing is that I think games pander to people now where it's like they want to get it done now.
Instant gratification, yeah.
Red Dead and some recent games are not like that. So everybody that has a complaint about Red Dead, it's like, when you're in the camp, you walk so slow. Like, why can't I just run from point to point? And it's like, it's intentional. There's very little fast travel because you're supposed to experience the game.
Yeah.
Things happen when you actually go from point A to point B.
Here's another thing about World of Warcraft. I'm just going to keep bringing this up because it's the game that I've spent the most amount of time in my life.
That's fine. It's a good barometer for a lot of things.
Yeah. So
as much as some people like to hate on it.
In World of Warcraft Classic, compared to now. So let's say today. In today's World of Warcraft, if I were to create a character right now, I could have it to level 20 in 2 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Like 2 hours. Wouldn't you say about 2, maybe 3 hours tops? Yeah. If I was very lackadaisical about it, it'd be 3 hours.
Yeah.
And at level 20, you get your first mount.
Yeah.
Which is a 60% increased speed. And then at level 40, you get your epic mount, which is 100%. So you double your movement speed, which is awesome. Yeah. In classic World of Warcraft, and up until, I think, Cataclysm, so like 10 years of this game almost. No, not 10 years. Yes. 8 years. Like 8 years of this game. You walked on your own 2 feet until level 40.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, in today's World of Warcraft, it doesn't sound so bad. Level 40, you'd get there in a few days of playing a couple hours a day. You know, you could probably get to level 40 if you grind it out. Especially if you have heirloom gear, you could get there in like probably 10 hours played, tops, max.
Yeah, vanilla flies now. And it's such a better experience game-wise because it's literally go here, go here, go here. By the time you get here, you're max level.
Do you remember the flight paths in vanilla?
Yeah, you would go...
Yeah, so let's say... you had to go somewhere. I remember this very specifically. I was in Westfall, and I had to fly to Loch Modan, which is like halfway up the map, right? God forbid I had to fly from Booty Bay to anywhere. So you would fly from like so let's say 2/3 down Eastern Kingdoms to 1/3 down. So you're going through just 1/3 of the map. You click the button, and then you go have dinner. Yeah. Because it would be a 30-minute
there was literally an add-on to tell you how long flights would take. Because you would then go and do something.
I think it was called Flight Timer.
Yeah, you would because that's how critical it was.
Yeah, you would literally go, okay, if I click this button, my character will be on a griffin, and there is nothing. There was no cancel button. That didn't come in until I think Warlords, a few years ago. But the flight paths were so much better, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But in vanilla, once you clicked the button, they collected your silver, and you were effed.
Yeah, well, the thing was, too, that you really weren't supposed to use them that much. You know, it was
to get you to a whole different zone.
Yeah, it was like you might use them once or twice. Or if you're, like, doing something
imagine that was really irritating at endgame.
Nah, I feel like probably... It added
I'm going to do this raid.
I think
in
they
Black
would
Rock
just
Mountain.
get used to it.
Crap! I'm in Teneris. So
I think you would plan your
play this scenario out in your head. So you're in Teneris. You're farming Zul'Farrak. Isn't that what it was? It was Zul'Farrak. ZF. Yes. And you're in Teneris, and you got to ride across the whole desert. That's a probably 4 minute ride, 4 or 5 minute ride to Gadgetzan. You hit Gadgetzan. You take your flight path up to, was it Ratchet?
He's just diving deeper and deeper into, like, the nerdiness hole. I can't remember any of this
Ratchet
stuff.
was, like, the place that Alliance... We always played Alliance, so we can't really talk much to Horde, but...
I switched to Horde for a time.
Yeah, me too.
Was temporary.
Played Undead for a little while. But, so you'd fly to Ratchet, which was, like, a 10-minute flight, and then you get on a boat, which... You'd wait for like 5 minutes and you couldn't leave your computer. You had to sit there and wait for the boat to arrive. You get on the boat. It's like a 2-minute boat ride. Boats were the cat's ass.
Yeah, because they were
instant. You'd sail out to sea and then you'd transport.
Yeah.
So you'd be on the boat for like 2 minutes and then you'd arrive in Booty Bay. And then you'd have to fly from Booty Bay up to freaking Black Rock.
What was the place next to Booty Bay? Stranglethorn?
Yes, STV. Stranglethorn.
That was so hard. That was like probably in vanilla the place I dreaded. It was awesome, but it was also like, oh my god.
The place I dreaded the most was Ungoro Crater. There were so many elites.
That was bad too. I played a hunter, which at the time was broken for like kiting things.
It was a long time it was broken. You could lay traps and never get touched.
Yeah, and
you have a bear for a pet, you were good.
Yeah, like it was awesome. So I could solo that stuff. But
I was a warrior,
which is,
and I was an arms warrior, which was at the time arguably the worst spec possible, and I didn't know how to play. Really. So like back in Classic, warriors could fight. If you weren't like decent, it was one mob, and then you had to eat to heal yourself because you were just you're shot after every single battle. And if you pulled 2, forget about it. You're dead. Yeah,
you just drop the
You might as well just forget about it. And I didn't learn how to like kill more than one monster until like level 45.
Yeah. But I remember the good old days of PvP where you and I would go into the Barrens.
Oh, yeah.
I would tame as a hunter one of the cats, and how you would if you attack someone in your own area that was an enemy. You would be flagged for PvP, but if you were in your own area,
if you were in an area that is a hostile territory, you could only attack things that were marked for PvP. Yeah, but most people weren't. Yeah. Most people kept that disabled. But
we got around it?
If you are in your own territory and you attack someone who is a hostile character, you become instantly marked for PvP for 15 minutes. Yeah. So Corey
would use Eyes of the Beast.
You would tame one of the creatures that lived in that area. Yeah. Then use Eyes of the Beast, which was a ability that let you become the creature.
It's long gone now. And I would walk around like a mob.
So he would pretend to be one of the creatures in the area, and eventually some poor level 5 scrub would come along. And he would just have to take one swipe at Corey's critter, which back in the day, so now, if you tame a level 5, it instantly becomes whatever level you are. Back in the day, you actually had to level your pet. Yeah. So if you tamed a level 5 and you were level 60, it was level 5. Yep. So this person would be walking around, if they weren't paying attention to the name tag, they would think, oh, it's just this other thing I have to kill to get a cheetah claw. And they would poke it once, and then in comes the level 50s. Yeah. To slay them. And then we would be terrible, terrible a-holes for like 2 hours, and we would just camp them.
Yeah, I love...
that was a thing.
Yeah, I remember I never reached max level, but I raided Thunder Bluff once. I was like... just shy of max level, or maybe I had reached max level at that time.
Neither of us ever reached max level in Classic. It might have been during BC.
I think it was Classic. So I go up, and I'm standing at the end of the bridge, and I go...
I think the highest we got was 55.
Because once you're at... Yeah, I was probably 55. And once you're at any city, you can reach trade chat, even if it's an enemy thing. And I'm like, guys, I'm in Thunder Bluff right now. It's empty. Now's the time to attack. I ended up organizing a raid, and we attacked Thunder Bluff and made it almost all the way.
Thunder Bluff is an actual enemy city.
Yeah, and I think we actually killed everybody, but back then there was no achievements or anything for doing it. We just ravaged this horde city.
I remember, actually, but it did count towards it. So they remembered that when they introduced the achievement system, they remembered that you had killed those things. I got the For the Alliance achievement without actually having to have done it. It just got handed to me.
Harder, yeah.
So I had already, because I think it was during Burning Crusade, it was Wrath when they introduced the achievement points. Mm-hmm. And it was during Burning Crusade, I and all my buddies had gone to every single Horde city and killed the leader. Yeah. So like I logged in one day and had a new mount. No. And a new title.
Yeah, I think achievements and challenges have kind of ruined games for me.
You think so?
Because I've kind of come back to I want to play a game to play the game and not be told how to play it. So like World of Warcraft has world quests. I like the idea of going in and just playing the game how I want to, not like I have to do this quest and this and grind this and then I can play the game how I want. And heaven forbid if I forget to do world quests one day, because then I'm behind.
I kind of miss that feeling. I don't think... That's why I'm a little worried. I might play Classic just for the fun of it, but I don't think that I'm ever going to like feel what I felt back then for Classic, just because I didn't know the game. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to play it. I didn't know what the best talents to take were. I didn't know anything about the game. So part of the glory of playing it was learning all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I know all the stuff, I'll go back and be like, okay, I'm going to make a rogue because they're OP, or a mage because I know that they're great. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if I go and do this, this, and this, I can talent my tree this way so that I have this ability and that ability, and I'm going to be totally badass. Except that everyone else knows that too, so you're going to be totally mediocre. So somebody who would have had the knowledge to be a total superstar in vanilla and just obliterate everything now is going to be everyone.
I feel like the other thing is, in recent WoW, they've taken away a lot of the skill.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember we used to take on people 10, 15, even sometimes we didn't even know their level, and we'd kill them.
Yeah, we did that. I remember killing question people.
Yeah, and Stranglethorn Vale.
Yes, STV.
We killed that guy.
That's why you think STV was hard. It's because there was a ton of PvP going on.
Yeah, that was the big PvP.
It was a contested area. That means that everyone's marked for PvP. Yeah. And everyone ganked everyone. Like, if you were level 60 and you wanted to go gank some noobs, you would go to STV, and Booty Bay especially, and you would do that. Well, not us most of the time. Like, when we played together, even when we were like level 50, because to be an STV, we would have been like high 40s.
Yeah.
We were taking out at least people who were at least 10 levels higher than us. We were able to take out on several occasions.
Yeah.
Even though we were total scrubs.
Yeah. No, I think we were better than average, but we definitely were not good. And there was so when it comes to playing that game, arguably we were one of the worst because we never did end game content,
and we never researched anything. Yeah. We didn't go on Curse and figure out what the best talents were.
We just learned by playing.
Yeah, we were like, oh, this ability is really good. I'm gonna spec into that ability and make myself
rotations.
More
we never knew that.
What the F's a rotation? I'm gonna hit, hamstring in the middle of a fight just because I can. I'm going to make this guy slow, even though I'm right in front of him.
I used to have a macro that would put down all of the traps.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then I would yell something, and there was an ability that
you were that
disengage.
Guy. So every time he clicked the button that laid down all his traps, he'd be like, "It's a trap."
Mm-hmm. And then it would place all the traps and hit disengage, which launched me back 20 feet. It would summon an area of cold. It would freeze you. It would light you on fire, which somehow was the thing that could be happening at the same time. It would explode. There would be a giant area of frost, and snakes would be.
Yeah, the old school snake trap. I don't think traps are a thing anymore for hunters.
They are in survival, I think. I can't remember.
Well, that reminds me. This guy ridiculous. Right here. This guy. Yes. You're looking at him. He was the world's first melee hunter.
Yeah, so, I would melee hunter before it was a thing.
Yes, before it was actually a viable option.
Yeah.
He would have Mongoose Bite. And he'd be like, Mongoose Bite. Wait 3 seconds. Mongoose Bite. I can do this. I'm a melee. I remember you specifically saying that, like, I figured out a thing. I'm a melee hunter now.
It took a lot of people by surprise. Because I would send my bear in.
You would lay all your traps. Yeah. You'd let them explode and freeze, and you'd be like, Mongoose Bite.
Yeah. And then my bear would go in, and they'd be like, where's the hunter? And I'm just sitting there, Mongoose Bite. And I think there was one other one, like Wing something. Mongoose Bite.
Wing Clip.
And it just slowed people.
Wing Clip,
did, 0 damage.
Wing Clip. It literally did 0 damage. It just slowed your movement. So yeah, you were like, Mongoose Bite. Wing Clip.
And then I would just kite around, and they'd be so annoying.
Slow! Mongoose Bite. Run! Aspect of cheetah. Run around.
Yep. Oh, the aspects.
That's gone.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so you're looking at the world's first melee hunter. Now it's a thing. So now he's not that anymore.
Well, that's the thing, is everybody's like, survival is the worst spec for hunters ever. And I'm like, challenge accepted. And I would kill people, and people would be like, you could see the confusion. Because, they'd just be, they'd be almost dead, and they'd just stop.
I was the only person who played PvE exclusively as Arms.
Yeah.
Arms was the PvP spec.
To be fair,
I switched to Fury at level 45.
I feel like the Hunter was pretty strong just because of all of the disengage options. If you were smart, you could survive quite a long time and chip away at
them. You used to beat me in duels almost every time.
Because you just can't get greedy.
Warriors were good at one thing in vanilla, pretty much. I mean, Fury Warriors, if you had a ton of gear, were nasty. Like, you had to be geared out to the teeth, though. But they were basically just for prot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just annihilated me, like, every time.
Well, that was the
pretty
thing.
Broken.
This was how it went. We'd start. You would charge me. I would freeze you and heal as my snakes bit you. Then I'd kite you. You'd reach me, almost kill me. I'd freeze you again or disengage somehow. Heal. And that's just how that went.
Yep.
Until
you finally chipped away all my health and I died.
I would just bandage or eat. Well, I don't think you could eat still.
No, not in combat.
Yeah, but I would just bandage.
Bandage.
The whole time my bear would be like, rawr, rawr. And pets were pretty useless unless you get... That was the other thing. Is you had to find a specific
if you had switched
pet.
out, if you'd switched out from because back then it was that flying serpent from Thousand Needles.
Yeah.
That was like the pet to have for PvP because it would use poison and like...
I had it and I didn't even know that. I'm just like, that looks cool because I had... You tamed 3 things as an Ironforged dwarf. Well, as a Lochmodan hunter, you've tamed 3 things, like a leopard, a bear, and then there was one other thing, a boar. And you got...
scorpions were nasty in PvP too.
Yeah, you had to pick one of those 3 things. I picked the bear. I had that bear, that starter bear, because that's what I wanted. I wanted a dwarf with a bear pet.
And you know why? It was in the trailer.
No, that wasn't it.
It was in the trailer.
I saw it, and I'm like, that's what I want to play.
Dwarf Hunter with a bear pet was the climax of the World of Warcraft intro scene.
Yeah, and so I'm like,
that's
me perfectly. I don't need to make any
And then I
here.
logged into the game, and it defaulted to a human hunter, and I went, yep, or a human warrior, and I'm like, yep, that's me.
Yeah.
Human warrior.
And so I kept that guy for like 40 levels. And the thing was that you literally had to train your pet, and it was so like your pet could be better than the equivalent pet because you had to train different things.
And you had to feed your pet to keep it happy. Because if it wasn't happy, eventually it just walk off into the sunset.
Yeah, which was cool. Which was like a cool mechanic instead of being like, yeah, that's just my slave.
Hunter's got the short end of the stick. I
don't have to worry about this.
You had to feed your pet. So you had to remember to do that because it would have an icon and anybody could see it.
Yeah,
it was an icon next to its thing, and it would it wasn't a bone. It was a face. Remember, it was either green, yellow, or red. And then when you fed it, it was a bone, and it would say "well fed," and it would get a buff.
Maybe, but the thing that Preach
and you had to buy arrows or bullets depending on what weapon you had,
and you could just run out of ammo. And then
you could be in the middle of a dungeon and run out of ammo and be like, "Oh no."
Yeah, and that's where I was happy.
Melee hunter. Mongoose bite.
Mongoose bite.
Corey's over there. Corey's over there with a whole set of strength gear.
Yeah, you remember leveling up weapons?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you pick up a weapon, I'm perfect with this. Right. I know how to use it. Back then, it was like, miss.
Yeah.
You're level 1.
And that was who had the worst time with that? Not you, because you were a hunter. I was a warrior. I had swords. I had maces. and it was so single hand sword, single hand mace, and single hand dagger, and then 2-hand mace and 2-hand sword, and then I also had guns. I had thrown. I had all these skills, and you would have to go. You literally would have to. Okay, I'm in this dungeon, and I've been using this mace for like the last 6 months because you play this game all the time, and you're using this mace and you finally get an upgrade. You're in a dungeon, you get a blue, which back then was a big deal, or you get an epic. I mean, like I remember, I'll never forget the moment that I got that sword from Zul'Farrak, the epic sword. Everyone got it like level 43. Every warrior did anyway, and it was like that sword that had like the black inlays in it, and it had the green thing spinning around it, and everyone's like, "Ooh, that's so cool." You get that. I remember getting that, and then not being able to use it for like a week. Yeah. Because I had to go...
You miss!
I had to go back to the starter zone in Elwyn Forest, and I had to sit there and swing it at boars for like an hour, and it would just be like, miss, 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 and then eventually you'd hit, and it'd be like, boof! It would destroy it, explode, and then you have to move to the next board, miss, miss. And back then, even level 1s could still hit you, and eventually they'd chew away at your health.
Yeah.
So you'd like sit there and you'd be like, for hours, I'd be like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, I started buying because I always used the melee,
and you couldn't use a training dummy. It had to be a live.
Yeah, I kept up the weapon, so you'd have like whites of every kind of weapon.
Remember when that was a thing? You go to the vendor and buy a white.
Yeah. But Preach talked about it, and I missed this too. Is towns actually had a purpose back in vanilla?
Yeah, you'd have to.
It's like I have to go stock up on this. I have to sell this. I have to get ammo. Like next time in town, I have to get water. Yeah. Like this is the stuff I have to do. And now it's kind of like...
And I remember being like, oh no, I can't even play right now. I have to go and farm gold.
Yeah.
Because you would get to the point where, like, especially as a warrior, I had to eat a ton of food. Mm-hmm. So I had to level cooking.
Same.
So I had to learn I had to level up my cooking skill every time. And I had to get food from the vendor most days. Yeah. So like, and food got expensive. It was like 5 silver. And back then, a gold was like, you got a gold. At least it was for us because we were stupid.
I remember one of our friends gave us like 5 gold each. And I'm like,
and then we both probably went to the auction house and blew it like idiots.
Yeah.
But back in the day, gold meant something.
Yeah.
And like, I would have times where I was like, oh no, like I can't play the game right now because I have to go and farm stuff so that I can sell it either on the auction house or to the vendor just so that I can repair my gear.
Now you just mail yourself 1,000 gold for a new character.
1,000? When I make a new character, I mail like 25,000 gold to it. Because I think my main character has like 400,000 gold.
I was pretty poor. But I think that's something, again, I'll compare it to Red Dead because it's brought back those mechanics. It's like if I go into town, I'm like, I got to check the gun shop for upgrades. I got to see if I can get new weapons. I got to go eat food because that will like make me better. And I have to go clean off because people will actually want to like pay attention to me. You know, like there's things that make you actually want to use this. And like maybe I'll sit at the gambling table and make a couple extra bucks. You know, like maybe I'll go and just do this side quest for this random shirt. It's like you feel like you're part of the world, and it's like you get lost in it.
In current World of Warcraft, and I think this goes for a lot of games because people want to feel special. Classic WoW put you in your goddamn place.
Oh yeah,
it put you in your place. So like, you are nothing special. You are just a random, and you have to work. If you want to try and kill this giant lava monster at the end of the game, you gotta work your ass off and become not a hero, but like a dude with a sword.
Yeah, and now everyone
you are the chosen hunter. You are the one.
Never mind all those people with the same exact artifact weapon as you. There's only one of those weapons in existence.
There's only you. You are the leader.
Yeah.
But back in the day, WoW was like, listen, there's these awesome guys.
Yeah.
There are these legends. You have your Tyrion Forgeling and your whoever else. You got your Thrall and all those guys that are just bamf. Yeah. You've got these guys who are like, they had skulls next to their name because they were so powerful that you couldn't even fathom their abilities. And then you're just this dude who started in the middle of nowhere and you had just rags on, and chances are you probably still had like rags.
Yeah.
Like you never looked good. You might look slightly better. No. There was like 10 people who had all the tier sets and they looked awesome. And you'd see those guys at Ironforge or Stormwind and you'd be like, oh.
Well, that's the other thing is you're like, wow, that guy God. Like
holy crap, that
person's done thing.
That is the most powerful person in the world.
Yeah.
Even in Burning Crusade you had that. Where you saw people remember when you saw people with the glaives?
Oh god, that was a whole thing.
If you were in Stormwind and you saw somebody with both Warglaives of Azeroth, you were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That guy.
That meant something. And that people whine now. Like, I don't want
Where's my legendary?
My stuff.
I remember back when we were on, because we were still on Skull Crusher back when during Burning Crusade, and I raided during Burning Crusade. No. That was when I actually got more into WoW. Me and Justin would play till 4 a.m. and raid and have fun. And we would see people with the Warglaives of Azeroth, and we would be like, holy shit. Like, that guy, I mean, because it was special. It was like a 2% drop rate for each of them. And you had to get both of them. And it was only for rogues, warriors, and hunters?
I don't think hunters could have it. I think it was just rogues and warriors.
I feel like there was another class that could have it back in the day.
Because I think it was just rogues and hunters.
Yeah, it might have been.
And then now, I'm just going to make rogues a demon hunter.
Yeah, I know. And then you get...
Which the class is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love those hero classes.
I mean, but you lost some of that. Even during Wrath of the Lich King, if you saw a warrior with Frostmourne, you were like, damn.
Yeah.
And I was so mad that they didn't give you... Or not Frostmourne. I said Frostmourne. Yeah, they didn't give you Frostmourne. I was mad because they didn't give you Frostmourne. It was... You had Shadow's Edge for a long time, and then it was Shadowmourne.
Yeah.
It was called Shadowmourne. It was a big two-handed axe. Yeah. And when you saw people with that, you were like, wow. That dude has done some things.
That's the thing is, it's like, I ran into that with Borderlands. Our friend Scott, he doesn't like to grind and stuff like that. He's like, I just want it. So now, he'll go and he'll just download a save game from...
What?
Yeah, you download the save game that has everything. And then you just unload all the weapons, and there you've got all the best weapons.
I mean, I'm not innocent of that. I had a Game Genie for N64, but still.
I get it. I think the problem with that is that there was just so many, and the chance was so few, that, it literally changed the game. Because it was almost unplayable at one point if you didn't have legendaries. But still, it's like... I feel like if you're not willing to put in the work, as long as you can play the game the same,
if Blizzard, we need to wrap this up in a bow. Mm-hmm. But let me just say something: if Blizzard ever wanted to recapture the magic that they had when World of Warcraft first came out, because we all know that Blizzard is going like this right now, they're going down. It's not good. Their stock price has been plummeting. I don't know if you know that or not.
No, that's that.
They announced. Yeah, you heard about that.
Which I don't know why everybody's so upset about it. I think it is what it is.
It is what it is. But Blizzard's core audience is PC gamers. It's always been PC gamers, and they announced in front of a bunch of PC gamers that they've moved all their best developers to their mobile platform games, and people were like, but. If Blizzard wanted to recapture the magic that they had back in the day with World of Warcraft, I think that they have a lot of things that they moved away from that made it what it was. And unfortunately, if you really want that magic, you know what you got to do? You got to make things exclusive. You got to make them hard to get. And you got to make it people work for things. You can't just hand everybody the lollipop.
The problem is, and it sounds counterintuitive, because World of Warcraft at one point had so many people playing.
When it had the most people playing, it was when it was the hardest to play.
Yeah, but here's the thing. People today don't want to work for anything. Back in the day, gamers like us, we were the minority. And, I mean, before us was even worse. But, from Super Nintendo on, when you started on Super Nintendo like I did, most people your age didn't play video.
You started on Super Nintendo?
I had other things, but yes, that was
I guess it's because I had an older brother, but the first system I ever played was regular Nintendo.
Yeah, well, I played on that too, but the Super Nintendo was the first one.
No one will ever know the struggle. Ready?
Yeah.
This is for the YouTube viewers. That is headphone warning.
Yeah.
That is the NES experience.
But back in the day, we expected to be playing the same game for a couple months. Now it's like, if I can't beat this in a day, I don't want anything to do with it. And that's the thing is, games like Red Dead Redemption, The Witcher, Fallout, they're not for everybody.
Yeah.
But they willingly accept that. And a company like Blizzard, I don't think they're going to accept that. They're not going to accept less money.
It's not about less money. It's not about... Yeah, that's the problem. Back when we got into Blizzard games, Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, when we played those games, we became fans.
Yeah.
Blizzard made games for Blizzard.
Yeah.
Blizzard made games that they wanted to play. Everyone who was in the company was a gamer. Chris Metzen, who was in charge of most of StarCraft and Warcraft storyboards and stuff, he was a hardcore gamer, and he was a nerd, and he loved, like, fantasy, and now Blizzard is all about that bottom line.
Yeah, well, that's CD Projekt
Red. And I can't
Red.
blame them, but at the same time, it's like, come on.
CD Projekt Red. It's the company that made The Witcher. And they put it perfectly in... They had a pamphlet in The Witcher game, the most recent one. It's like, we realize that you want content. So guess what? On top of this 100-plus hour gameplay, there's random quests.
Here's DLC.
There's also free DLC and all that stuff. It's like, wow. And I guarantee
I heard that The Witcher... I still haven't played it yet, but I heard The Witcher 3 was like one of the greatest games of all time.
It's amazing. I got lost in it. And that's... You know, the problem is that so many games are... Because the other thing is, I remember as a kid, Super Nintendo, you'd get a game. I wouldn't know what games were coming out. Yeah, I didn't have, like, any way of knowing.
You'd go to the game store and be like...
So every couple months, you might be able to go to the game store and get a new game.
Right. And
so
you
would
pick.
Play that one game.
And you'd play the hell out of it.
Oh, yes. And then now it's like...
I can't tell you how many
times... What games are coming out this week?
I can't tell you how many times I played through Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. And
I probably played through Ocarina of Time 100 times.
It's all instant satisfaction. And we all need to slow down and accept good things take time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good place to kind of call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So take your time. Enjoy the hard work that if you get Red Dead Redemption, The Witcher, stuff like that, enjoy the time that's put in.
The moral of the story is... Go back to Babbleheads number 1 and listen all the way through to this one. And take your time. Do it over the course of a year. I don't care. Enjoy.
That was really bad. You should cut that out and edit it.
SoundCloud.com/Babbleheads. Maybe. I don't know.
Shameless self-promotion and goodbye.
See ya.